It is September 12th, 2013. Alex Hanser here, coming to you from Gunnison, Colorado. And in this short video, I want to talk a little bit about life in the desert, what life has been like for me in the desert of the San Luis Valley, because there's a little bit of misconception out there, and some of it has come from some of the struggles that I've shared, some of the pain that I've gone through that I've shared. And I want to come back to this topic, recenter this topic, and begin this video with a reminder that through pain and through hardship, we can become stronger human beings. And what I know that I have under my belt is that I spent 10 months in a yurt in what might as well be the middle of nowhere. A place on this planet that to me felt so beautiful, even though it was hot during the summer and very cold during the winter and very deserted. There was just this sheer beauty of being amongst an area that looks like another planet or something from Star Wars. A place where many things historically have happened, a place where many Indians of different forms and different kinds, different tribes have resided throughout time. Not just the Utes, not just the Apaches, not just the Comanches, and many, many others, but the Anasazi and the Hopi as well. Of course, when I say Anasazi and Hopi, a lot of people think Utah. Utah is not the only place. Arizona is not the only place. There's an area of at least 4 states the Anasazi and Hopi were known to reside in. And while I was in the San Luis Valley, the particular area that I could feel this ancient. I could feel this ancient Indian energy. And I remember the day that I got to the San Luis Valley, I went down to the Rio Grande River about 3 miles from the yurt, and I remember praying openly to the Great Spirit. Not addressing it as God or Creator, but Great Spirit, as the Native Americans would have, and engaged in a prayer by the river as I sat with such gratitude for being in such a beautiful place. As I said, Great Creator, protect me. Protect me on this divine spiritual mission that I feel that I am on at this time. Because, of course, 10 months in the desert is not your typical camping trip. Not at all. I posted, 50 videos? And in another video, because some videos need to have their own topic, I've been floored by all of the comments that I have gotten. Supportive ones, but amazingly negative ones. Why would you live there? There's nothing in the desert. Why do you suffer so much? When are you going to go back to the grid? Why are you doing this to yourself? I want to thank everybody that made those comments over time, because it's really gotten me to think about victim consciousness, about how people can somehow think they have the right to tell others what to do, and how people who don't even know someone, because the vast majority of you have never met me, and even if you did meet me, the vast majority had never spent an extended amount of time with me to get to know the real Alex, beyond just what you see on YouTube, to know my strengths, to know what I'm capable of, not just see my weaknesses and my pain and what I go through as a human being. Because you got to remember, part of this YouTube channel is me being a human being. It's not being a personality. I do understand there are a lot of personalities out there. And some people found my YouTube channel because I may have talked about the Illuminati in a mall, or I may have talked to a cop confronting him about martial law plans. I may have been screaming with a megaphone years and years and years ago. So I've attracted that type of an audience. People that, want to fight the system. They don't like the New World Order. And they want to watch people that are talking about these things. But I've always been more than that. I haven't always expressed those other sides of myself that are more than that. But I am more than that, and on this channel I express that strength that truly I'm building through these sacrifices that I have made. And part of me felt like I was meant to be in the desert for a reason. And there's also a part of me that feels like I may be going back to the desert. If I'm somewhere warm enough this winter, I'm not going to be at the year. And I can't really express to you with English words how grateful I am for the last year. It's not a year of pure pain. There were struggles, there were sacrifices, there was a lot of time that was spent in pure silence. Now, for a lot of people, and this is where people go, whoa, Alex, how can you do that? Why would anyone sane sit in silence and not go to McDonald's and not go to Burger King and not go to the store and not go to the pool hall, not go to the bar, not go on the date, not do this, why would anyone do that? I thank those that say these things. I thank those. I thank you. You're my teacher. You, those with those comments, why? You are my teacher. You are a reminder to me how much work I have to do to try to lift people's spirits and help them to the best of my ability see that there are things that are still possible if you put your mind to it. So I try to the best of my ability to lead by example. And out in the desert, the silence is something that can drive you mad. Or it can take you to another place to where you are now able to really hear your own thoughts, because everything around you was silent. There was a period where this computer wasn't even working for a month. I remember reading 5 books, one of them being 500 pages, in several weeks. Now, there were times in the year where that was an extremely painful experience. And I thought about people in the past a lot in the winter. Some women that I love very much. People that were obviously thousands of miles from me. When it was really cold, my body was shaking. And the temperatures were somewhere in the negatives. That area can get as low as -30, -40. The record lows are even lower than that. And it was like the reverse of a sweat lodge experience. It's like a purification. But if you're not intending to purify yourself, and if you're just out in the desert for the fuck of it, you can go mad. Just like anywhere else. Just because I was out in the desert doesn't mean that I was around other people that were on the shamanic journey towards greater self-realization, to have a more direct connection with the Almighty Creator. Not everyone out there is tapped into that level. In fact, there's quite a few alcoholics. There are quite a few backstabbers. There are quite a few people out there that all they do is participate in the verbal sport of bashing your neighbor. That is, if I were to say, if there was one pastime activity that most of the people in the area that I was staying at, that they partake in other than drinking cheap alcohol, it's bashing your neighbor. Now, that doesn't mean that the area is entirely or inherently negative. nor do I wish to place judgment on people that choose to live in dense population centers. But we all have our own path. We all react slightly differently to the environments around us, also to our own thoughts. And so this is something to take into consideration. There isn't any area on the planet that is completely good or completely evil. There's something to learn from every part of the earth. And so by traveling and experiencing things, you grow. And so in the silence, I adjusted to my own thoughts, to being still, to not having the radio on all the time. Although it really did help to have an iPod and to have a solar panel and to have a deep cycle marine grade battery and to have computer speakers. That was awesome because I was rocking out for a few months there, working out, even though it can't really show. It doesn't really show, but I don't necessarily eat all that much, so I don't retain all of my results. But I felt good. I felt empowered. I felt incredibly healthy during some of those periods. And not worrying about water. I'm in the middle of the desert, but I have 5-gallon containers, and people would constantly ask me, Alex, how do you get by without water? I bring water in, or I have a few allies in the valley. So when we go to town, we go get water together. It's not a big concept. One of the reasons why, it's not a complicated concept. One of the reasons why the systems of control, the New World Order, the elite, the establishment, has so much power over people, including people that are aware of what they're doing, is because they bring those people, or slaves, if you will, water. And I want to get into how domesticated we have become in another video. But if you want to be free, if you want to have an awakening, if you're just pointing at what they are doing or what you are aware that they are doing, because even when people are talking about what they are doing, it seems like people focus on just Obama and the New World Order, or what they think is the New World Order. They leave out China, they leave out Russia, they leave out the Vatican, they leave out England, they leave out the royal family, they leave out all of these things and all of these other factors. And just looking at the problem, it's far larger than most people are aware of. But you've got to look at what you're capable of. You've got to be willing to camp more than a few days. You've got to be willing to undomesticate yourself. It doesn't mean you have to go into the wild. There's a lot of people that made the analogy between what I did in the desert with in the wild. And into the wild, the guy in his own understanding was lost, even though he was near a town. Okay, the desert where I was surrounded by towns. You drive any way, 10 miles, 15 miles, a little bit more than that, but you will end up at a town. You will find a store. You will get gas. You drive 40 miles, you're in Alamosa. They have a movie theater, for crying out loud. So for those that believe that I was hundreds of miles from anything, you're wrong. Now, I should retain a little bit of gratitude that the place is still somewhat open and affordable, because if people did take my advice and get land out there, the land wouldn't be as cheap as it remains to be to this day. So my heart is still in the San Luis Valley, in particular that area around Mesita, around the Colorado-New Mexico border, and at some point I shall return. But in the silence, there is peace. Most people cannot remain silent for more than a few minutes, more than a few hours, and that includes not turning on your iPod, that includes not checking your Facebook mobile, that includes not checking your email, that includes all of those things, that includes not going to the Alex Jones channel, that includes not going to the David Icke channel or the Alex Ansary channel or whatever. That includes no multimedia or entertainment. And the vast majority of the human population today would behave in very erratic ways if they had no power, if there was a blackout for an extended period of time. But I do believe if we were to have an event like that, eventually humanity would figure it out and return to a more self-sufficient, sustainable, peaceful, natural way of living. I'm going to wrap this video up here. This is the point of going out in the desert now, when you know what's wrong with the world and you feel that something's coming. The point is to start acclimating yourself to a more natural way of life in order for you to experience greater internal freedom and security. Thank you for watching.